Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Veronica. In today's video, I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal for the month of May. I know this one's a little bit late coming out. I tried to get this done over the weekend and then I didn't end up getting it up until just now. So sorry if you guys already planned out your bullet journals, but if you're interested to see how I planned out mine, then just keep watching. So I'm going to start out by doing my cover page as I always do. I'm just going to write May on this one, and this month I'm going to keep it themed kind of floral like I did last month for April. But this time I'm going to try and include some more purples and blues. So I'm just starting out by tracing out all of my doodles before I paint it with my watercolor pens. I took a ruler and actually drew out 2 lines, and in the middle is where I'm going to draw May. Then I'm going to draw some floral accents on either side of the 2 lines. So once I finished drawing all of that, I took an eraser and just went over it a little bit so that the pencil lines weren't as bold and didn't stick out as much. That way they also don't bleed when I paint with the watercolor paint. So then I'm just going in with my watercolor pens. These are the ones I always use. I'll have them linked below, like I always do, as well as everything else I use in the video. That'll all be down there in case you guys are interested in what I use. So I'm just going to start out by painting in my greens. This is the most dominant color in the doodles, so I figured I'd start with this. I'm also going to start with some light greens, and then as I go I'll add in the darker greens over top just to add some shadowing in. And I'll pretty much do that all throughout this with the blues and the purples and everything as well. I'll start with a lighter color and then I'll kind of continue with a dark color. So then once I was finished painting and all of the watercolor paint was completely dry, I took one of my gel pens and I just went over all the outlines and details. So this just makes it pop out a little bit more, and it always makes it look a little cleaner, I think. So that is it for my cover page. Then moving on, this month I am going to do a calendar. Last month I didn't. I just did a tracker on the 1 page, and I kind of missed the big calendar, so I'm going to add that back in this video. So starting off, I'm just going to take the 1 page to the left and I'm going to draw out a big box, and this is just going to end up being my calendar. Now, this did show through the page a little bit more than I'd like it to. I don't know. I might end up trying to switch to a different pen. I really like these gel pens, but they can be a little thick. And they're very bright and colorful, but sometimes that shines through to the other page. So I am going to look into some other pens that maybe don't bleed. Well, these don't really bleed through, but like show through as much. Then I just took my little ruler and I made 7 squares across the page and then 5 squares down. So then once I finished all these squares, I just wrote out the numbers for each day. And then I really didn't like how the top looked, so I actually covered it up with some washi tape, and then I put my days of the week at the bottom. Then continuing with that florally cluster sort of theme, I painted a bunch more leaves and flowers and everything up on top of the calendar. Now I'm actually going to let this dry before I doodle over it again with my gel pen. And I'm going to move on to my tracker page. So this is just going to be my habit tracker, just like usual. I just wrote habit tracker out at the top, and then I made a little leafy vine with the blues. And then I wrote out all the numbers for each day of the week. So we'll start with 1 all the way to 31. And then I just wrote out all of the habits I wanted to try and do. And then at the bottom I did have some space. So down here I put my notes for the month, my goals for the month, and then also my to-do for that month. Then once all of my watercolor had dried, I realized I did want a little bit more blue into this whole theme, so I went over some of the lighter colors with some blue watercolor paint. Then of course I had to let this dry again, so that was a little bit more of a wait. And then once that dried, I just went over that with my gel pen. Let me know what you guys think. I think I almost want a little bit more space on this. Maybe I'll do 2 pages for the month of June and then 2 pages for the tracker as well. Let me know what you guys think. Do you usually use that much space, or do you not end up filling out that much? Let me know in the comments down below. And then that is it for my monthly setup. So then moving on, I'm going to set up these 2 pages for my weekly spread. So for this week's setup, I really wanted to try and do something a little different other than the boxes that I usually do just for each day. So I decided that I was going to try and do this honeycomb looking theme that I've seen before. So this actually took me a while to plan out. I took a pencil to start with because I knew if I did this with a gel pen right off it would not work. So I traced it all out with a pencil and then I went over it with the gel pen. So I ended up making 8 little boxes instead of just 7, and then the 8th box is going to be the spot where I put things to do for the following week. Then I thought this page needed a little color, so I added in some blue watercolor paint just around the edges of this whole little setup. Then I started filling in the days of the week, and I also, like I said, put next week down in the corner. I had a little room up in the corner, so I put a little calendar there so I can kind of glance at what the month looks like. And then I started adding in a little bit of detail on some of the watercolor, just some little accents here or there. I also added some green leaves in there too. I thought the green complemented the blue really well, and it also went with the rest of the whole theme for this month. Let me know what you guys usually like to plan out in your journal. I usually like to have a place for each day of the week so I can kind of make to-do lists for each day. And then I also like to have kind of goals for the overall week. But that's really it for what I like to put in here. This time I did put a brain drop sort of spot where you can just write down thoughts and notes and things, and I'm going to see how that kind of works out. I usually like keeping a separate journal for writing, and then this bullet journal as more of a planning journal. So then I had a few little spots that I really didn't like how they turned out, so I just put some washi tape over them and added that into the page a little bit. I think that fit in there really well. On this washi tape, I know they're a little honeycomb. I keep calling them honeycomb. I guess I don't even know what they would be. And then I just added a little more doodles in, and then that's it for my weekly setup. So I really like how this setup turned out actually. It's one of my favorite ones I think I've ever done. So we have my weekly setup, and then all of my monthly setup with my tracker, and then the month of May. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you did like it. If you did, then don't forget to leave a thumbs up down below the video. That way I know you guys did enjoy watching this and like my Plan With You videos. Don't forget to subscribe as well. That way you won't miss any of my future videos. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!